I think the future generation of finance leaders is going to be the things of the past plus. And by that I mean it's the obvious accounting and financial acumen. It is leadership skills. It is understanding of basic SaaS systems and APIs to a degree high enough to be able to talk to your back office biz apps people, to do business requirements documents and things of that nature, to spell out your requirements to get that next implementation. But I do think, as opposed to some of those SaaS applications where a lot of the implementation work is done by back office people, AI is going to be something for the future that I believe senior managers, controllers are going to want to actually be able to do themselves. I think the other part about SaaS is people really developed ecosystems, primarily through the development of APIs. But all of a sudden, whereas finance leaders, you had a SaaS ERP, be it Intact or NetSuite, all of a sudden you now had also Avalara for your sales tax. You had parties like Expensify on reimbursement. You had Coupa or Ariba with respect to P2P. All these different applications now became a part of the system world owned by a CFO. And that's really been that second evolution. So it was sort of your ERP SaaS and then SaaS Plus, which is the ecosystem of other parties who connect in through APIs. When you lose one person on a team, the board and the CEO certainly do not expect that the financials will be delayed. They don't expect that there will be issues in the audit, and nor do I. And so the reality is, though, you will lose people. You will lose people in the team. And the challenge for us is, how do we keep up that high bar of accuracy and timeliness when we do lose someone, which is inevitable. Even in the highest retention of companies, it's an inevitable issue to lose someone. So we really have to think about our cross-training. We have to think about our systems. And I'm always thinking about what I can automate each and every day so that when we have someone or when we lose someone who leaves the company, how do we ensure that we minimize the impact of that departure? There are still a lot of contractors that are being used all over the world to do these jobs. That is simply not sustainable. And that's for a few different reasons. I think the audit requirements are getting harder. They're getting more difficult. The compliance is getting more difficult. Who's handling what information? Data privacy, more difficult. Outsourcing this to either a lower cost location in the US or an international location, it just opens up all these holes for audit. It opens up the same holes for retaining talent, except now I don't even have the ability to retain them. It's someone else's individual who they have to retain that's out of my control. So all these things lend itself to AI, and I think the technology is now at a place where it's being broadly used. It's highly relevant, and it's up to CFOs as leaders to figure out what their AI roadmap is going to look like in order to begin to get the level of audit assurance they need, the consistency they need, and the other part of that is really the scalability. I think every company can benefit from auditory solutions. The way I think about it is every company has accounts receivable. You have customers that are paying you. Every company has accounts payable. There are vendors that you pay. So by definition, there isn't a company out there that shouldn't look at Auditoria and the kinds of solutions it provides. I think beyond that, there are so many other skills that are either currently developed or that are on the roadmap that every CFO needs to look at and ask themselves, what am I outsourcing? What are my people spending too much time on, right? And that doesn't necessarily mean they're spending too much time every day, but look at those areas of audit preparation and ask them why it takes a month or 2 months, or why it's delayed another week. The other part of that is really around the confidence. So what Auditoria gives me is confidence. Confidence that there isn't someone who I have to hire to fill a job, who I have to train, that, as all people will make errors. That person may leave at some point in time, or they may want to get promoted because they've done such a great job. We retrain again. We're constantly going through this cycle of attracting, retaining, and retraining people. And with that, as every CFO knows, you open yourself up to error. What Auditoria gives me is the ability to have a software implementation. You implement and you train it once, and as you continue to do that, you never lose that. You never worry about scale. You never worry about replacing talent. You never worry about those audit errors. That's really what excites me about Auditoria.